right.
All right, we're back. Let's drop the elk horn.
Little-
All 61 subscribers that are going to watch 10 minutes of this video.
Right. A little bit different scenery today. We're at my house. It's a little bit warm in the taxidermy shop, so.
Yeah, you have air conditioning. I have a swamp cooler, so you would have constantly heard this sound going on. So.
Yeah, I got an interesting topic today.
Couple topics.
One of them, we decided to pull out some big old elk sheds that myself and my brother found in 2015-ish. Right, I think it was about 2015 when we found these. So we'll bring up the latest and greatest on the elk management. Discussions going on.
2015, the heyday of Nevada elk hunting.
Yeah, we just watched the video. We should probably put that link in somewhere.
I'll put the link to the video we just watched. It was from the March Commission meeting. We'll put it in the description down below. I would highly recommend go watch it because that's the other thing we're going to talk about. The June Commission meeting is talking about opening up the elk management plan. So for all of you who don't know, every unit in Nevada that has elk, they are restricted to a population that NDOW has to manage for. And that population across the units is anywhere from 1/3 of carrying capacity to 1/8 of carrying capacity for what those units can actually hold for a number of elk. So if you just look across the units, we're total population, NDOW has to manage for 13,500 elk. So when you're talking to 1/3 to 1/8, there could very potentially be 50,000 elk just in those units.
Yeah.
That's not even across the state, because most of the state doesn't have elk where it actually has very feasible elk habitat.
Yeah, and if you watch this PowerPoint or this presentation that this NDOW representative did, we'll put that link in there. And if you watch, you'll see that we did have a peak in like 2014, 15, where we almost hit 20,000 elk in the state.
Almost.
So,
And they mentioned, because we talk about this, everybody who hunts elk in Nevada talks about it. That was the heyday, 2015, 2016. And then there's spots, northern Nevada up in Jarbidge, I go to spots that we used to go to, and it's like, you'd look out, you'd see elk all day.
Yeah.
You could easily sit on one ridge and it's like, oh yeah, there's 50 elk in there. And a couple years ago, we went up there and it's like, oh, this place is a ghost town. Like, there's not nearly as many as there used to be. And that's the reason why, is they had to manage them. They had to get them from 20,000 back down to 13,500. Yeah. But they're wanting to reopen it and allow for more elk on the landscape. So if anybody is around the Elko area, June 13th, 14th?
13th and 14th. I left my phone out here just to make sure.
Yeah.
13th and 14th in Elko. So,
so June 13th, 14th, come down to the commission meeting that's here in Elko and voice your opinion whether you want more elk on the landscape or not as many elk on the landscape or the same. I'm going to go voice my opinion for more elk.
Yeah, there's places I can get behind that. Yeah. There's other places I'm a little bit selfish about.
Yeah. It's good to be skeptical. There has been a study in Wyoming that showed that elk absolutely did compete with deer in that unit. And deer are my number one.
Yeah.
But the landscape and the habitat of Nevada has changed a lot. And there's a lot of money and a lot of moisture that has to be put into the ground for that deer habitat to come back. And it's going to take a long time anyway for that habitat to come back, even if you have the money and the moisture, because sagebrush and bitterbrush doesn't grow instantly, especially when you have cheatgrass invading.
Yeah.
Whereas elk are the most adaptive animal on the freaking planet.
Yeah, they're like the coyotes that taste good.
Yeah. And they're huge.
They're big.
But a fire rips through, so Area 6, when those fires ripped through there and destroyed all that deer habitat, elk don't really care about fires. They can graze. So they go in there and they start eating grass, they're fine with it.
And they're a little bit, the winters that are a little bit harder on deer, the crust, everything else, elk can thrive still.
Elk, we don't have hard enough winters in Nevada to affect elk.
Yeah.
Whereas like it can be an effect of the deer.
Yeah.
You know.
Not unless they stay up kind of crazy high or something. But
well, and that's the thing too is like deer, they're kind of restricted to that like brushy shrubbery zone and like mountain peaks.
Yeah.
Elk don't care. They'll be in the bottoms in the salt brush. I've seen them on the Great Salt Lake out in the salt flats just laying down.
They'll move.
And
they'll go.
They'll be at the top of the mountain. They'll be in that shrub brush. They'll be down in the salt brush. They don't care. They'll be everywhere.
Yeah. So one thing I can say is that, you know, and the statistics say it too, and you'll see it in that presentation if you watch the link. It's the quality of elk. I mean, the average kill age as of, I think it was year to date not year to date, but the 2025 is 6.1 years old.
Yeah, 6 years old.
Average kill age of a elk that gets killed in Nevada right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
You go to Colorado, I bet you the average age is like 3, maybe. You know, and they have a 4-point restriction. I've seen 4-point elk that have antlers this tall that are the size of a deer in Colorado, and it's.
Which we're going to Colorado this year.
Yeah.
So we can come back with some stories. We got lucky enough to draw a Colorado bull tag. So yeah.
We'll definitely bring the cameras. We'll do some filming, but don't expect us to get the kill shot.
We're just going to be getting meat. We're not going with big expectations. We're
more of the talking forum, not the filming hunts forum, because, you know, I don't need to.
If we're together, we might be able to get something.
Maybe if we're together, yeah. When I'm by myself, I'm not going to fumble around with the camera trying to be successful.
Yeah, I've tried that. I've lost a few critters that way, but
one of the most important drivers that I saw in that video that was interesting was the economic revenue for the rural communities of Nevada.
It's insane.
This is bonkers. Yeah. $18 million last year that just elk hunting brought to the rural communities
of
Nevada.
That's not money going back to like NDOW or into a bank or anything. It's you go buy a box of bullets, you buy groceries at the local grocery store.
Gas.
The gas. I mean, all
motels, RV parks, whatever it was.
And they say the statistics are showing that people are willing to spend money in Nevada to I think he said $3,900.
Yeah, well, Nevada's one of the most coveted states that's low key for non-residents because every unit in Nevada you have the chance to kill a 350 bull.
Yeah,
so
really do.
When people do, especially non-residents, but even residents, when residents draw it, they're taking off all their time from work. They're focusing on that bull. That bull tag is priority.
It's coveted to them. It's very precious. We've talked about this before in other discussions, just how special Nevada tags are to have. I mean, they really are. And then you get, to see elk like this is not, it's not out of reach. It's there, you know? Yeah,
and these are, if I had to guess, these are probably 340 sheds.
Mm-hmm.
I'd guess them right around there.
Yeah, and we actually have the set from 2 years later, so they're at 360.
Yeah.
So that's we've been fortunate enough to find them year after year of the same bull, which is crazy.
Which is crazy because
that was 2015, 2016, 2014.
Yeah. And even still, when you talk about we're going to Colorado, right? If we see a 300-inch bull, that's a trophy class bull.
Oh yeah,
in Colorado.
I'll be jumping up in the air, clicking my heels together. Yeah,
I know multiple people that pass 340-inch bulls, 330-inch bulls in Nevada because they're like, no, I'm going to hold out for something bigger because it's out there.
Yeah, I've known a lot of guys that have just eaten their tag just on an archery hunts, having 340, 330 bulls come in, and they're just like, nah. It's okay. I'm not gonna wait, or I don't get something from this. Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
I'm not that. I'm not that. I've been fortunate enough to kill some nice bulls, but But now we just wanted to kind of open that up. So make sure if you're interested. I don't know if they're gonna televise. Sometimes they web these things.
Yes. Yeah. There will be a link where you can. If you can't make it, there will be a link on the commission website. I'll do my best to get that out somehow.
Okay.
We'll do our best.
Yeah. You guys haven't realized yet, Travis is the one that's always posting things and putting organizing stuff for the channel. I'm just kind of like, hey, let's go talk.
Yeah,
so,
don't worry. That's gonna change come about August when my busy season happens. You're gonna have to take that.
Yeah, and I've got some life events with my family that we're sending a kid to college, so that's almost over with. We're getting through the summer now, and
it's much easier to do it with two people because once August and September hit and my shop's getting loaded with animals, like you're gonna have to take the torch.
Yeah, no problem.
But we'll try to provide that link because you don't have to go to the actual meeting. We're planning on going.
Just because it's right here.
Yeah. You can watch it online, and you can even put public comment on.
Yeah.
In there.
And
online.
comment in here, like if you're from the state and you're watching this, can we use more elk? Like, do you think physically out there, boots on the ground, seeing the habitat change and the animals and behaviors and everything else, like, do you think we can sustain more elk?
Well, and if you comment on the video, because I'm going to try and voice public comment when they have the little speaker nod and we go up there, I'm going to try and get up there and like tell my opinion. So if you comment on the video, I can actually
raise your question,
voice my opinion of like, hey, there's also this many comments that are in support of it that have seen this.
Yeah.
So
pretty cool stuff. It's good that they, these public events or where they let the public in, weigh in on stuff. It's great. I've been guilty of not taking advantage of it myself, but I'm getting more conscious about it now. So
yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't realize like wildlife is owned by the public and managed by the state.
Mm-hmm.
It's not owned by the state. It's managed by the state. So that's why there's public comment, and that's why your voice matters. Because if there's enough people that raise their voice, they have to manage and support those people because it's owned by us.
Yeah, this land sell-off thing was a big example of that. I mean, that's probably a whole nother discussion we have is just on that. I need to find out more detail and familiarize myself with it better. But
the BLM sell-off thing.
So that's one of the topics, and then another one that's kind of come across, and some of you have probably seen it, is the wild horse.
Yes.
Gosh, what was it? I sent it to you. The annex.
BLM is seeking public input on their management areas, which is one is the antelope area and the other one's the Triple B complex. So for those of you who don't know, that's basically you have Elko, and then south of Elko you have Overland Paths, which is around Bald Mountain Mine.
Yeah. So
south of that to Highway 50 and all the way over into like Unit 121, that's the Triple B complex.
Right. Yep.
And then you go east. Farther, that's the Antelope complex. We're talking
I think all the way to 93.
All the way to the Utah border, I believe.
Okay.
So I think it starts at 93 and goes to the Utah border.
Yeah, because they mentioned the go shoots in there.
Yeah. So that's units 113, 112, 111, 105, and I believe 106.
Yeah.
Yes, go shoot.
Yep.
So they're seeking public comment because those horses are way overpopulated. And they're having a hard time because holding facilities are, maxed out, and they want to hear the opinion from the public, which I already sent an email, and I voiced my concern.
Send an email to you.
Yeah. There's far too many horses in there. So they have what's AML. I forget what it stands for, but that's their acronym for their management level. It's something management level.
Uh-huh.
But I think they're supposed to only have, I want to say the Triple B complex is supposed to have somewhere between like 400 and 600 horses, and right now their estimate is over 3,000, which I can tell you that's low because they rounded up 3,000 horses in there, or 2,000 horses in there 2021, I believe, and then they just rounded up another 2,000 horses from there. And I can tell you 2023, I went on top of the Medicine Range, which is part of the Triple B complex.
Yeah.
And I sat on the North Basin. There's a road that goes up there towards one of the Guzzlers. And I was looking over that North Basin. I counted 1,300 horses just in the Medicine Range. Just in that one basin. That wasn't even the whole range. That was just the one basin.
I believe it. If you drive through Butte Valley, if you drive through the Cherry Creeks anymore.
Yeah.
Go shoot. I mean,
just driving down 93
it's
past
incredible.
Spruce.
Yeah, just past Spruce.
Yeah, you'll see.
I mean, ranging all the way. I mean, I'm starting to see them north of 80 now.
Yeah.
Like there's a small pocket of them up on the Idaho border in 068. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I've never seen horses there, so I mean, it's.
I've never seen horses. You see horses past Overland Pass, like one, or not Overland, Harrison. I've seen groups, bands of horses in Overland Pass now.
Yeah.
Or not Overland,
no,
Harrison.
Harrison.
I'm getting confused.
There's always never used to be there.
There's been a lot of horses at Overland, but yeah, Harrison's never had horses. And then the last couple of years, Harrison's been getting loaded up with them.
So definitely voice it. I think there was some.
We'll provide the link
technical
in here.
I think there was some technical jargon about euthanizations and stuff like that, and whether or not they're, I guess, what rules they can and can't play by that are already stated in the law.
Yeah.
So
yeah, personally, I don't care what they do with them, just get them off the range, because it's devastating. Because that's an area like you've deer hunted in the Triple B, and you used to deer hunt a lot in the Triple B, and you used to see some monster bucks in that range.
Yeah, we used to chase some giants, and it's incredible to see where it's become.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing really doing well there, well, not even in there, is the antelope. But thinking on it now, the antelope are really thriving outside the main horse ranges.
Yeah.
Like those used to be like the diamonds, and I mean, there's still antelope in there, and there's still good ones, and I mean, creeping over into 065 and what have you. But really, the bigger antelope bucks I've seen in the last 5 years, I think have been outside the horse range.
Well, yeah,
they've been in the north. They've been in north and central, and northeast.
Well, you know, I've seen it, and everybody talks about it. Annette talked about it when she came on. Those horses don't let antelope come to the springs. They'll chase them off. The only thing that actually stands a fighting chance is a herd of elk.
Yeah.
One stallion.
That herd of elk comes in there.
Especially in September when you get them rutted up elk, that stallion will go challenge that bull and try and run them off. The elk will win that fight.
Yeah, and the thing about elk that's fine is that they only take what they need, and that's it. And the horses, I've seen horses sit there and stomp a drip into nothing.
Yeah, it's turn it to mud, and then it turns to just plaster on top of it.
They destroy the holding, like, because elk have to have, like, they can't just drink out of a stream, really. They have to have a collective, a collection.
And the horses is one of the main reasons why we had such a devastating deer decline from that hard winter in 2023.
Yeah.
So Unit 10, the Triple B complex is mostly within Unit 10, and most of that's winter range for the deer that come from the rubies. Well, the horses eat all the feed that's in that winter range year round. They just eat it. So when those deer get down there, there's nothing there for them. So when we had that hard winter of 23, those deer got down there. There was no feed for them. So those deer died. And we lost 30% of our deer herd because those horses are overpopulated.
Yeah, they're just overpopulated. So I'm a strong advocate for let's get control of these horses. They're not doing anything any good. There's no wildlife favors. I mean,
and they're not a native animal either. They're an animal that got released historically. They were released by ranchers because they couldn't feed them through the winter.
Yeah.
And they'd save a couple of their good horses, and then they'd use their good horses when the spring roundup came, collect a couple wild horses. Yeah. And it's like, they're not even a native wildlife. So when they're out competing, their population is higher now, I would say, even though BLM says their population is like 45,000, which their AML population is only supposed to be like 10,000 to 12,000. But there's more horses on the landscape than there are any population group of native wildlife.
That's wrong. And if you go out, I mean, Travis, these horses are in bad shape. Like their rib cages are showing. I mean, it's not a comfortable life. It's not a great life for these horses to be that overpopulated either. No. I mean, they're sick. I've seen horses just in famished, like bad shape.
Dying of starvation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's that aspect of it. I'm of the mindset, it's like, you know, it would be cool to see a horse on the landscape, a wild horse.
It'd be cool in the way that we see moose now.
It would be
like,
cool
oh,
to see, like, oh my God, there's a horse. I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah.
Not like every time we go out, there's 20 of them, there's another 20 of them. I'm sitting right here. I've seen, 50 head of them. That's not
literally.
Cool. Yeah. It's not cool when you see more of them than you do wildlife.
So, I mean, from personal experience, horses need to be regulated in a bad way right now. That country used to be some of my favorite country to be in. Yeah. And
of all the times I've hunted in grizzly country, mountain lions, black bears, whatever, sleeping under a tree with no tent, anything, I've been charged and attacked twice in the wild. Both of them were just hot stallions.
Yeah, I've laid down behind the forest in Idaho just on a mat and a bedroll or in a sleeping bag and in the middle of elk country, and you don't ever get bothered by a black bear.
Yeah,
it's like,
but
I've been charged by horses.
A hot stallion, when they see you, they'll come running from a long ways away to try and kick your brains out and stuff. That's a thing, and especially if you have a dog with you.
Oh yeah. So
they're not friendly animals either.
No. So, I mean, it's in a direct correlation. I mean, to those antelope. Like I think the bigger antelope are starting to push outside of the horse range. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I've seen antelope in places bigger antelope. I've seen some handfuls here and there of places that I've been. I hunt deer religiously, but now I'm seeing a lot more.
Well, it's interesting.
And it's not horse country.
When you look at like the units where the antelope, like within the Triple B complex, the largest concentration of antelope is on Ruby Marsh, because Ruby Marsh is fenced off.
Yes.
It's supposed to be fenced off to keep the horses out.
Yeah.
You go outside of the marshland, it's very hard to find an antelope because the horses drive them out of there.
Well, when you used to go down right before you get to Loggy's Junction.
Oh yeah.
Antelope forever. Like you'd see, you'd stop on the side of the road and look at 80-inch antelope, and now there's just small little patches of them.
Yeah, not as many either.
So thriving in some parts of the state where horses are, they're not thriving. Yeah, they're pushing out.
Horses are devastating. I guess I'll stop ranting about it.
Yeah, same here. Sorry about the congestion too. Like I've got some allergies going on right now or something. So
we'll provide the link. I encourage you to email them and give your public comment. Hopefully get all those horses out of there, at least get them down to their AML, their management level.
Yeah.
Because they need to be managed.
Yeah. And we're not the only ones talking about it. I mean, there's other groups talking about the horses, but if you want to leave a comment, and like I said, like we could do a tally. We could do like an average of our subscribers really believe that we need horse management, what have you. We could break it down that way. So, yeah. So yeah.
And if you're gonna put some hate comments, at least make them funny.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hurt our feelings. We were both raised in the Marine Corps.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no.
We've been insulted to the 9.
Yeah, it's okay. I think some other things, like we got scouting season coming up. I mean, there's guys out pounding the pavement already. I think as soon as tags came out, I've seen 4-wheelers and side-by-sides and camp trailers leaving Elko. And
one of the, that's what we need to talk about. One of the guys that we're going to have on the show, who's committed, I'm going to hold him to it. He used to work for BLM, and he was actually worked in part with the horses and all that part and that side of BLM. We're going to have him on the show, let him talk about it, because he's seen some pretty horrifying stuff of horses dying of starvation, horses dying of thirst.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah. Especially in those places, like a lot of for some reason, I don't know why, but
I know he was out scouting today. That's where I was.
Oh yeah. They inhabit, the horses inhabit places where there's like not a ton of water either. And it's just because the valleys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I know
like,
exactly what I mean. When you see the salt brush where there's like hardly any feed and there's 1,000 horses out there.
you don't see them up in the middle of top of Merritt Mountain or up in the...
They haven't made it there yet, but
Yeah.
when you go to Spruce, they're all the way at the top of Spruce.
They're at the top of Spruce.
Yeah, and I mean, good luck finding
Spruce
deer.
pretty dry though too, unless you get to the top.
Yeah, well, it's like crazy when you look at the harvest statistics from NDOW and you see the amount of deer that are taken out of Spruce. There's been like 2 deer killed in Spruce over the last 5 years.
There's not a lot.
No. Whereas I think it's definitely
Depending on
on the
winter.
list. If you go to the Nevada Big Game Record Book and you look at the records of like typical mule deer, I believe it was a typical, like 3rd or 4th on the list came off of Spruce Mountain.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So
back in the day, Spruce was a hot spot for deer, and now you're lucky to even see a deer on that mountain.
Well, and it's also right on the tail end of that migration route from the winter range. So they come, all those deer that used to come out of Idaho, 54?
Yeah.
54, come through that Delano range, come through the Division range.
Yeah,
head on down through 7-6.
Well, that was back in the day, back in the 80s and the 70s, 60s, like pre-80s.
Yeah,
you'd get all the deer from 101. They'd all migrate down and they'd winter down around Spruce. And then you get all those deer from 081 in Idaho, and they'd go all the way down and they'd winter in Spruce. And Spruce was a hot spot back in the day. And there were always holdovers, so Spruce had a population. And in the last 30 years, that population's pretty well gone.
Yeah.
So like there's a deer crossing sign when you're on 93 headed south. And every time, and it's between 109 and 105. Every time I pass that sign, I'm like, they put this sign here like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
If I saw a deer here, I'd go buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah, it's an old whitetail sign.
Yeah.
But there's more elk crossing signs there than anything, and that just kind of brings us back to the topic of can we have more elk out here? And I think we can in a lot of places, but like I said, I'm a little biased to some other places.
There's some areas I would like to see a study to see. It'd be tough though, because like Area 6 is the big one, right?
Yeah.
That's the one where it's like the deer are starting to come back. The elk have pretty much by and large disappeared from Area 6.
I don't know if we killed them out or they just moved. I don't know that answer. I'd like to find that out. We need to ask that question.
I've heard something, because I think NDOW's doing a mineral study. So I've heard studies about that to figure out why the elk disappeared, because they don't even really know why all the elk disappeared from 6.
Yeah. And 6.5 too. Like 6.5 started getting that trickle effect.
6.5 used to have elk tags. Used to have enough elk to have cow tags.
We found sheds in there, all kinds of stuff. But I mean,
there's no elk left in 6.5.
There's no elk in there. I mean, if there is, there's 1 or 3. That's it. So
that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, we should find that out.
It would be interesting to see a study if the elk are competing with deer, because that's like the only real portion of the state that I would be concerned with is that Area 6.
Yeah. Well, even pushing to the west and getting into that bighorn sheep country, like the Californians are just coming back pretty strong in some of those units, and like what is that, the Santa Rosa or
Santa Rosa's
5-1 5-1 yeah. So I mean, there's some ranges there that elk started to poke their head in, and then the Big 6, they were trickle overs from Big 6, I think. They moved over into 5-1, and they're kind of gone now. So. But the sheep are doing good, or have been doing. God, I should knock on wood, because sheep, if you even say their name, they get sick. So.
See, and I have a hard time believing the elk are going to compete with sheep, because
it's totally different.
Down in Jefferson, 161. There was a bunch of sheep, and there's always been elk. I mean, there's been elk in there for a long time, and the sheep they had a big sheep die off. But they got sick, but they weren't out competing the sheep. The sheep were thriving. They were doing U tags, trying to mitigate from overpopulation for a disease event. And
mostly on Table though, right?
No, it was on Jefferson. It was 161.
Okay, gotcha. So
So I don't know how competitive they are with them, but I mean, still at the point, it's like, if you had to choose one, because sheep are so inconsistent, you could have a die-off event come through and wipe out a bunch of sheep. And deer, the habitat is dwindling, so it's like that's a lot of restoration work.
And that's where I hope
you're never gonna. The only way you can manage elk is through hunting. Like drought, they don't care about drought. They don't care about hard winters. Like elk are just so productive and so.
They have a will to live.
Yeah, they're so adaptive. You know, it's like, oh, it's hot. All right, I'll sit in the shade. Yeah. They're still gonna pump out babies every year, and their success rate on a baby making maturity is higher than every other animal in the state. Yeah. It's like elk are so adaptive, and Nevada's environment is like perfect for elk. And everybody who complains about not getting a tag every year, you could have elk from one end of the state to the other.
Yeah,
you could have 100,000 elk or more, and you could draw a tag for a bull elk every 2-3 years. You know?
I mean, if you look at the statistics in that presentation, it was 1997. Started off, I think it was 4,000 animals, and it went all the way to 2015. It went up to almost a peak of 20,000.
Yeah,
but they were steadily holding on to that 13,500 mark for a while.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, you're talking about the tail end of it, when they knocked them back down.
It's all It's all a matter of how many we want.
Yeah, because it's the way to regulate elk in the state of Nevada is issuing tags, because we don't have the predator bases to tear them up, So it's all about hunter allocation of tags. That's how you manage them.
Yeah, it's a pretty good watch. I mean, and I didn't even watch the whole thing. I just watched some of the highlights. So
well, that's the thing too. Is like, let's just say you eliminated cow elk hunts. We're going off of just a scenario, fictitious scenario. If you eliminated cow elk hunts and you just let the population expand, you could very feasibly quadruple the population. So say you're going from 13,500. If you wanted 50,000 elk, you could get there in 8 to 10 years very feasibly.
Oh yeah.
And then at that point, when
we know how to do it now.
Yeah,
we know how to do it. I mean, according to those statistics, we know how to do it.
And especially like if you were to transplant them into more units within the state, like say Area 18 outside of Fallon, even those border units like 204 and 202 and whatnot.
Sierra Nevada stuff. I mean, we were talking about
if you were to transplant elk into that, I mean,
they trickling down.
They would boom in no time flat.
Because those Rockies are already trickling down from that Alturas area up in North California. So I mean.
And there's a lot of people that'll say the wolves aren't pushing them down. It's not the wolves.
They're pushing them down.
The wolves are definitely pushing them down, because there was never an elk north in Reno area until California had wolves, and now there's elk north of Reno.
Yeah.
Like in Nevada, on Peavine and on the Peterson.
That'd be crazy to see elk herds rolling through Lake Tahoe.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Suburb areas.
Historically, there used to be when the California Trail was coming out.
Yeah.
There were elk in the Sierras.
There was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, then there was always the Thule elk down in the valley, but there were Rocky Mountain elk in the Sierras.
The only thing I would wonder about the Sierras is if there's, when they get down into a winter range, I don't know how much winter range there is. It's going to be all private, obviously.
On the east side, there's plenty. Yeah, I grew up on the east side of them, right? And that's one of the primo winter ranges for deer. So there's plenty of winter range on the east side. The west side, you might have conflict for ranchers, but that's in California, so I don't care.
Yeah. They'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
But the Thule elk are doing good over there since they reintroduced them and managed them. So
probably never draw that tag. My dad got one though, so that's cool. That's a different type of elk to see, because like in Nevada, you're used to seeing them in like certain areas. Then you go to California, like where the Thule elk are, and you see them out in the marshland, and it's like in the deserts and all that stuff. A lot of the same habitat, but you won't. The one caveat is like you never see them up in the mountains.
Yeah.
You'll see them in the salt brush, and you'll see them in the marshland and the alfalfa fields, but you'll never see them up in the high alpine.
Yeah. I used to duck hunt religiously in the Central Valley, in the San Joaquin Valley, and then up in the Mendota and everything else. And you'd see up in the Mendota, you'd see elk, the Thule elk, and it was cool. But you're right, they don't get up in the mountains,
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we wrap this one up?
Let's see. Are there anything else to cover?
I think we'll just start getting into some of we're talking about getting the unit kind of specific type conversations, and then I do want to share some of my scouting stuff, because I'm going to start hitting it really hard here pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know what? I'm even thinking, because it'd be cool to, a lot of our shorts that we post, it'll be of scouting stuff.
Yeah.
And we might even tell you what unit it is. What I was thinking is like, if I see like a buck, because I'm not going to tell you where it is.
You won't see my target buck.
Yeah, you won't see my target buck.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you where it is, but I'll say whether it's like unit whatever and public or private.
Yeah.
After that. But that just gets a little adrenaline going, like, oh, this deer does exist in this unit, or this antelope does exist, or elk, whatever it is.
And I just started playing with muzzleloader for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Out of state in Illinois. So I'm excited. A little bit with my brother with his muzzleloader tags last year. I've got a muzzleloader tag this year, and I'll share some tips if I've got any.
Yeah, we didn't tell everybody what we drew.
Oh, we didn't?
No, I don't think so when we reviewed it.
Oh, well.
We got some tidbits. But
I drew a muzzleloader buck tag. I'll let you guys figure out where.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. No, I got a rifled deer. If I take some video of that hunt, everybody will know right where it's at. Like what unit I have.
Yeah, that was pretty noticeable.
Yeah. So then I got rifle antelope too. And I got muzzleloader antelope in Utah. And then we both got Colorado elk rifle.
Yeah, I've got an Idaho bull tag for archery, and then I've got an Idaho deer tag, and I have an Illinois archery whitetail tag. So be doing some hunting.
Yeah.
And then we got some family that's drawn. They drew some really great tags, and we mentioned one of them the last go around, but. Yeah. So we'll be out and about. We'll be beating the brush. We'll be trying to bring you guys some content a little bit. Like Travis said, we're not big on all the solo hunter type stuff, so don't expect that from us. But we'll come to you from the field here and there.
Yeah. We'll give it a whirl. We're gonna try and get a lot of guests on the show and hear some more experience. So I got a friend who's a neighbor. He'll be on. He's a biologist. He doesn't work for the state though. He doesn't work for NDOW, but he is a biologist and he works in the field of biology.
Yes. Okay, you mentioned that to me.
We'll get him to come on.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, that'd be a good one because he works a lot in the Triple B complex and has to deal a lot with horses.
We'll talk about what some of these industries are or are not doing for us for wildlife. So,
Then we got the BLM guy, and then the county commissioner guy. I think I can get him on who's on the county board. So, and then I got some biologist friends at NDOW. It's just trying to get them on when it works for them. So we want to hear other opinions. We'll probably get some novice hunters on here who are just getting into it, get their opinion. Yeah. Try and get some more old timers.
We got some outfitters too. Obviously the one I work for, and then I've got a few friends that are starting to dip their toe into that too. So we can look at a 30-year perspective outfitter and a 1 or 2 year perspective outfitter. Outfitter. So.
I've got an outfitter friend too. I tried to get him on. He's got stage fright.
It's just us. It's just us and like 70 subscribers.
70. It's generous. Maybe by the end of the
day. So
we just like talking hunting, talking about Nevada, what people are seeing, what people saw back in the day, what people expect to see who are new,
and raising public awareness.
That's the big thing with the horses, the elk management plan. Like that's a huge thing. We want to do the unit breakdowns. We're just trying to figure out exactly how to do those.
We want to do it without pissing everybody off. That's kind of one of my. Let's just be honest.
So we got some things in the works. How long would you guys watch a video? Like, how long do you want us to make those videos? Because we do have some things we can talk about, like moisture. I can talk about, age class that's come out of there into the shop. I can talk about Boone and Crockett scores that's come out of that area in the shop. So that's not really giving away anything special.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to get into mountain ranges, things like that. So we don't want anybody to freak out about it.
We can talk about distance from services, whether you're going to have to camp or whether you can buy a motel, where's the nearest gas. We can talk about a lot of that stuff. We just got to pencil it down before we get into it. But then this elk management plan came up, and that's coming up, so that's going to be a topic of conversation.
It's a topic for the next week or two.
Yeah, so the unit breakdown, I wouldn't expect that until June, July. I think I might hopefully get the deer biologist on sometime in July to talk about what it takes to grow like really high quality deer. And then see what he says, so then I can go over like my tooth age data that I collect in the shop,
Yeah.
as well as the Boone and Crockett score.
Which is cool because they illustrate that. They make a good example of that in that presentation.
Yeah, the elk presentation. Click the link in the description. I'll put it there.
Yeah.
It's a good watch.
And
That's the thing.
expect a lot of shorts from the field, because we're going to be in the field a lot.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah, I like posting shorts.
I'm going to be out there a lot.
Yeah.
So
I got a lot of pictures and videos of animals, so it's fun to post those up.
yeah.
Get people excited.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
We keep forgetting to really harp on this.
Okay.
Like,
Don't kill
comment,
does. I thought we beat that one to death.
do what?
Not killing does.
Oh, not killing does. Quit killing doe
Quit
deer.
killing does. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have to end every show like that. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're probably never going to get monetized from this because it's like Nevada hunting. It's not
But we're
some
having fun.
big platform.
We just want to do it to do it.
It's nice to get together and talk about hunting.
Yeah.
Listen to other people's perspectives. Listen to professionals.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And just a couple of good old
And
boys that
despite
like
what you might think, we are professionals.
Yeah.
To an extent, right? You're
Yes.
a professional guide.
I've been guiding for almost 20 years.
I'm
Yeah.
a professional taxidermist. I get paid to play with stuffed animals.
This is my 19th year guiding.
Yeah.
In Nevada,
Take that
so
with a grain of salt. We're
Yeah.
professionals to an extent.
I just aged myself pretty good. All these youngsters I see come in, I'm like, woo, they're ambitious, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, guiding was one of those things I looked at. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I ever want to do that.
Yeah, I've met some great people. And I've got some horror stories too, but
Yeah.
but mostly great people. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
And I guess we'll wrap that up.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We don't have
Subscribe.
a fancy slogan. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll come up with one
Yeah.
to send off.
Quit killing doves.
Yeah, quit killing doves. There you go. Right on. Thanks, everybody.